Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel. And I've seen a lot more fans, in particular on yesterday's video, who are starting to doubt manager Ruben Amorim. And trust me, I do get it. I understand it. Myself, I do feel that this summer transfer window is make or break for Ruben Amorim as the manager. But to have a successful window, that's not down to Ruben Amorim. That is down to the people running Manchester United. I want to break it down today, discuss it with yourself. So get involved, have your say, and we'll try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. How are you feeling today? On another note, Ruben Amorim's done another interview this week.
Yeah, well, I'm not watching it. Said yesterday, I'm sick of Ruben Amorim's interviews. He's doing too many. But let me tell you something. This club, and we all agreed on it, start of the season, I said it needs ripping out. But for it to be ripped out and all the deadwood gone, we're going to have to suffer some pain. It's going to be carnage and chaos. And quite rightly, this summer, that's what's got to be done. We've already seen that since Ruben Amorim comes in. Jumped on Rashford, other players. He's also talked about discipline and everything. We know it's been carnage in there, okay? So this summer, it's got to be ripped out. That's not Ruben Amorim's fault. He had no chance when he come in. Under Eric Ten Hag, I wanted him there to do his third year, to try and clear it out. And then the new manager, Ruben Amorim, would have come in. It is nothing to do with Ruben Amorim. I back Ruben Amorim. Why wouldn't I back Ruben Amorim? What's going on in the club has nothing to do with him. And there is garbage in there, and there is turmoil, and it is not his fault. But this summer, the club, the men in suits, have to act, and along with Ruben Amorim.
He did say a while ago, Ruben Amorim, that we are going to suffer. He didn't say for how long, but he did mention that. And you would have liked to have thought, I'm surely, when there was conversations about him becoming the Manchester United manager, that there was some sort of guarantees there, especially in the summer transfer window that's coming up. And, you know, let's be honest with ourselves. Turning doubters into believers, right? Ruben Amorim has to win football matches. I mean, that's how you do that. Of course it is. But it's up to the club to provide him with a successful transfer window, just to give him that base, just to start off with next season, so we do see signs of improvement.
Well, I think looking at all the comments yesterday and what people have been talking about for a while, people I talked to in that, look, we expect after 6 months of Ruben Amorim being in here, Ruben Amorim, the men in suits, they should already know who's in and who's out in the summer and what needs to be done inside the club as well. They should already know. So it should be a simple process, okay? If it's not a simple process, then the organisation isn't right. And I look at Sir Jim Ratcliffe and he still bothers me. He still bothers me because you expect mistakes when someone comes into a big organisation like this. But the problem is, they've been amateur mistakes. Listen, it's got to be done ruthlessly and professionally. And it still bothers me, but it's got to be done this summer.
They've been ruthless as well with certain sides of, let's face it, is what is a business here at Manchester United, cutting jobs, raising prices of tickets, etc. And I think a lot of fans now, you know, have seen that ruthlessness, and there's probably other words that you can call that, but they want to see it, which is the main focus in this playing squad, where it's ruthless and it's a clear out.
On the football.
Yeah, but can we achieve that, though, this summer? Or again, like we've been saying really now for a few seasons, it's going to be a few seasons before it's all sorted out. Me, personally, I think it's going to take 3 summer transfer windows to actually build a squad that can compete at the top of the table.
I think what they've got to look at is working towards next season, having a good season. Yeah. You know, having a good season should be the priority. But the question every fan out there will be saying, well, what is a good season? Well, I don't really know what the answer is. Winning games for the start is one. Getting up the league is 6th place, a realistic target. Is that a good season? Well, you have to look on this season and say, right, it's been absolutely atrocious. So I want a good season next year. And that's what they should be looking and working towards, having a good season. But the thing is, the priority, and we all know what the priority is with Ratcliffe and everyone, and football, it's all about money. So they would want to get into Europe. That's how I see how the club would want it. But for me, having a good season, we're all going to have your own different opinions. Listen, if we finish 8th For me, that's excellent because you will have turmoil in the summer and it won't all be done. But what you want to see is progress somewhere where you can see light at the end of the tunnel. Because at this moment now, I think this is our darkest hour for a long, long time. And you need light at the end of the tunnel. So for me, a good season, getting up there, winning games, especially back-to-back games.
Yeah.
You know, anything above 10, steady progress. And that's how you've got to look at it. And then you look at the next summer. There is a lot of pain, what people have suffered this year, but I expected it. I told you, and there's still pain to come next year.
I understand that, and I do get where you're coming from about not really giving a target in terms of what progress is. And I'm just going to put 2 and 2 together here. Hopefully I get 4. Hopefully I don't get wide of the mark. Let me know what you think. But, you know, a few weeks ago, I do remember, and I'm sure a lot of you out there will remember, that stories were coming out about budgeting in this summer transfer window and the next summer transfer window as well. And that was aimed at United finishing in the Europa League places. Now, I do expect that target to be set for next season, where they will want Ruben Amorim to finish in them Europa League places. Is that realistic with the squad that he's got? To be honest with you, we won't know until, let's say, the start of the season or the end of the transfer window with the actual squad that he's got.
No, that's it. We've got to wait. All we can do at this moment is hope. Some people out there, you know, from when I was reading the comments yesterday, are actually praying things turn round, and we might all have to get on our knees and start praying. But as Kieron says, he's right. At this moment in time, there's no need to panic. What you have to accept is it's going to be a rocky road, and there is pain down the line coming. A good season, like I say, even with some players brought in, a good season for me is 10. Listen, it's been a terrible year. I don't care. We're going to win that Europa League, okay? But that doesn't take away from what we have. And what we have is a terrible year. How Ruben Amorim has dealt with it this year, he has annoyed and, let's say it, he has pissed people off inside that club with his approach. There is no two ways about that. But that's how it had to be, okay? These players, people inside the club, they've been looked after and they've been stepped around and they've been looked after. That's not what's needed here. And Ruben Amorim, straight in your face. You've heard him in conversations. That's how he is.
Nicholas Buckley from our members club. You cannot excuse Amorim. He is the one who has changed the system and refuses to change. I hope he is successful, but he could have gone through this transformation more slowly. But let's face it, how many systems, different managers that we've seen, and we've still seen the repeated problems, the same patterns, that certain players can't actually perform at the highest level here at Manchester United. And I hate keep on repeating what Ruben Amorim says, and I hear the word a lot about culture. I'm not too sure specifically what he actually means by that. We can all talk about attitudes, etc., but what it specifically means, I'm not too sure. But it gets brought up way, way too much, where I think that is the main issue, and I do fully believe him when he says that, because it can't be that all these players are bad players, but for something and some unknown reason, when they're put into a Manchester United team or they're brought into this football club, you know, it's like being a graveyard for players. So there must be something fundamentally wrong in this football club that's not helping players to achieve it. Because when we have bought players in the past, no matter who it's been, they've all performed at a certain standard or played well for us to even take notice and actually go and buy them. But when they've come here to United, I mean, they just...
Look, I look at it this way.
But that comes from the top all the way down to the bottom, the standards.
Ruben Amorim's fault, the system. No, it's not. It's not. Now, you tell me if I'm wrong here, okay? This isn't just about Ruben Amorim. They brought the manager in because they were looking for a manager what plays that system, okay? So it's not just down to Ruben Amorim. That's how he plays. That's how he coaches. That's what he was doing over in Portugal. That's how he's been taught. That's the way he wants to go. Well, they went and found him and they brought him in to play that system. It's what they want to do. I've heard Barada talk about it. I've heard Sir Jim Ratcliffe. That's the Manchester United way going forward. That's what I'm being told. That's what I've listened to. And now, am I wrong? You've got to sort of say, no, look, this is the way they want to play. They don't want this. I'm on about Ratcliffe and Barada, okay? That's what they want. You can't keep blaming Ruben Amorim for the system. He was brought in to do that. He was brought in as a coach, not as a manager. So if I'm wrong, I'll stick my hands right up. But I do believe, from what my understanding is, Ratcliffe and Barada and the people around want this system. So it's not Ruben Amorim's sole fault that these players can't play it. It's the players who can't adapt. These players, what are on fortunes, who are young, fit men.
Like I mentioned in yesterday's video, we've already sacked a manager this season because the same group of players weren't performing under Erik ten Hag in a different system.
Correct.
I mean, both managers can't be wrong. I still believe Erik ten Hag is not a bad manager, and I wouldn't have been wholeheartedly against it if Erik ten Hag would have seen this season out, and then Ruben Amorim coming in the summer under like a lot less pressure, so to speak, so they can work on behind the scenes, getting players in and getting players out.
Let's get something straight. The players, the squad, them players after the cup final at Wembley were disrespecting Erik ten Hag. They couldn't even celebrate. That's the toxicity in that squad. That's how poor these professional footballers are. And that's how bad they are at stabbing people in the back. If they don't get their way, then everyone else is on the highway. These disrespectful, arrogant footballers need a lesson teaching them. And I started it by turning round, full clear out, rip it out, get the deadwood out. They don't care who the manager is. They will do what they want to do, and they will do everything to disrupt any manager what's come in. And we've all seen it. We're not blind. You have to admit it. Players after a cup final, what are in this squad, turned on Erik ten Hag after winning the cup. Come on. They're doing the same with Ruben Amorim. But the style of football and the way we're going forward is down to the club and this coach.
Lee Jones, thanks for super chat. Fed up why the media is against. Fed up is why the media is against us so much. Love the show.
Right, well, the media are always against us, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, sorry about that, mate. I couldn't read that one out properly, but at least you was on hand there to get that one out right. Well, he's come back again, though, Lee Jones. We got clowns at the top. Certainly right with that one, mate, and I read that one out perfect.
Yeah, we've got clowns at the top. We've got clowns everywhere. We've had them here for years and years. You know what I mean? We've had them here for over 20 years, maybe even a little bit longer. It needs a rip out. Amorim understands that. He talks about it. He talks about, like, how bad things are, how things need to... He's gone mental in there. Was it... We had a discussion the other day. He was kicking TVs over at the Brighton game. So he's annoyed everyone in there. But that's what's needed. And that's why we've got what we've got on the pitch this year, because people don't respect, right, what they're being told. They do not accept it, okay? It's our way or the highway. But them players haven't got it anymore.
Scott Farrell, this is nonsense. It's a different team now. I know what he's alluding to. I think when you're talking about players after the FA Cup final now, no, listen. You're basing that off an actual report in a certain fanzine from a journalist who didn't actually come out with that information after that FA Cup final straight away. He actually sat on that information towards the end of Erik ten Hag's reign, because he actually remember it coming out, and I was a bit shocked by it, thinking, well, why didn't you put this out earlier? And for me personally, I'm just putting two together based on conversations that I have and things that I hear, and I can very much believe that them players are still in this squad right now. Yeah, and there was at least 3 or 4 players who spoke on the condition of anonymity. Is that the word? Yeah, but not to actually go out there with that. So, but them players were still here when Erik ten Hag got the sack, and them players were still here when Ruben Amorim took over. That's the squad he took over. He came in, and that's what he's got. And now he's been here, by the end of the season, 6 months. Okay, and it's bad in there, absolutely bad. But he's fronted it. No other manager has fronted it like him, because he's had to. But he's also been told to do it. This is the way. I want you to come in this club, deal with it, because Ratcliffe and everyone else, what's in charge in there, they already know. They've seen what's in there. They've walked round. They speak to people. People are trying to save their own jobs, stabbing each other in the back and all that. They knew how toxic it was, and they knew what they had to do.
but they've not done it from the footballing point of view. They're just getting rid of all the deadwood, all the noise, and they've come at us and they've done all the cost cutting, and it's all about money with them at the moment. But this summer has to be all about football. That's what it has to be. And that's why, you know, he still bothers me, Ratcliffe, because I still think he'll be on about money. And when you talk about we have to finish in the Europa League and all that, you know, if we don't win the Europa League this year, we won't be in the Champions League. And then next season, we have to achieve Europa League football. I don't think we've got any chance of doing that. I honestly don't. I think the carnage and chaos will continue, right? You can't sort it out. As people have said in yesterday's comments, you can't sort this out in one summer transfer window.
Take a breath. Puglis specialist says, name the players then. It's not up to me to name the players, mate. It's not me who spoke to the players straight after the FA Cup final and then published what they did a few weeks later, to be honest with you. Maybe go and ask them who the players are.
Well, it's can I just make a comment on that? Well, it's down to the person who spoke to him and who heard him making derogatory remarks about Erik ten Hag. Yeah. But if you're employed by the club and you're in the media, you keep your mouth shut to save your own job. And that's, in my opinion, is exactly what happened until the moment Erik ten Hag got sacked.
I do see this one quite a bit. Where is it now? It's gone back up. Scott's come back again. But lads, just because ten Hag's system didn't work, which everyone could see, doesn't mean Amorim's system does work. It clearly doesn't. But it doesn't work because they're not his players, mate. I mean, he's trying to build something here, a system that, let's face it, you don't often see. And now I'm not 100% sure it is going to work. I can't sit here and tell you it's going to work, definitely, Scott. No. But he's got to be given a chance, surely, with some of the players brought in the summer, just to see if we can see something different instead of sacking another manager. I mean, where do we go? I mean, we've had the likes of Van Gaal, Mourinho, you know, big managers, been at big football clubs before. We've gone to like the likes of Solskjaer. We've gone to Erik ten Hag. We're here at Amorim. I mean, where else do we go next? I mean, do we try another manager, give him 6 months and he doesn't turn it around with near enough this same group of players, then say, oh, well, let's get him out? Well, you know, we can all have an opinion on it. You know, have we all got the answers? No, we've not. And that goes for myself. But surely we've got to give him something, right, at the start of the season so we can actually say, look, here you go. For me, 10 games, we need to see improvement in that and at least just one thing. And that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking the world just to see back-to-back wins in the Premier League.
Okay, simple. Erik ten Hag. We gave Erik ten Hag his 3rd season. We backed him. And that's what you should do as a manager, okay? That's what you should do. Back your manager. Now, these 6 months, okay, have been carnage for Ruben Amorim. He didn't want to be here. So it's the start, really, in August when the season kicks off. And you have to back him, okay? And we will back him for the tenure of his contract. It's as simple as that. That's what you do. We back our managers and we know things don't go right. But at the end of the day, you cannot keep doing rinsing and repeating, having a manager for 18 months or 2 years and then getting rid of him, okay? And then starting the process. Oh, we're in a process, are we? Yeah. Oh, we're in a new era. Yeah. Oh, things are going to change.
Yeah, we might win.
Well, it's not. You've seen the same. You've seen the same. You've seen garbage players end up in the squad with the new manager who then tries to get out, can't get out for whatever reason, stupid contracts and all that. You have to back the manager, okay? Things won't go right. Things haven't gone right. It's been a disaster, okay, because of the squad and the attitude. He's trying to bring in now younger players. He's introducing them. So that's going to take time. There's players there like Mainu, terrible game the other day. Okay, right? There's things going on with his contract, things like that. Things aren't settled for him. He doesn't know where he is at the moment. You've got Ahmad in there. You've got Garnacho. We don't know what's going on. And then you've got Fredrickson, the centre half. He came in for the game. You don't know what's going to happen there. This player's going to be introduced. It takes time to turn it round, and you have to give a manager, because I am sick to death, right, of people complaining about managers and saying, oh, get him out because it doesn't look right. Well, look, I get the frustration, but you have to stick with a manager at some point or it will never change.
And like I said at the start of the video, you've just said it there. I do get it. It's a frustrating time here.
It is.
Manchester United, I mean, the history of this football club, you know, how mighty were we up there, and where are we now? 16th in the Premier League table. It's not good. It's not a great feeling, you know, going to watch the games week in, week out, where you more or less know what the result or the performance is going to be. And I'm just hoping for once here that it's a blessing in disguise that Ruben Amorim is coming in the right time during the Premier League season, that he's been able to see hands-on with his own eyes who these bluffers are. Instead of coming in the summer, having a pre-season, everything's like dead hunky-dory, all the players working towards the manager, coming out of all these cute quotes on Instagram and the social media, how they've loved training today and all that. We're battling for the manager. And then the season starts and we've seen the same rinse and repeat, where these players start downing tools. So let's hope, and I surely do actually believe, I do believe that he knows exactly who these bluffers are in the squad. I keep seeing people say, yeah, but name the players then, name the players then. I mean, he got rid of one straight away, Marcus Rashford. And how many of yous out there, including us, you was one of the first 2.5 years ago to call Rashford out. And look where he's got now. And a lot of yous have also jumped on that same train because of the performance that you've seen. But you've seen it very well from
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago. There's a lot more players there. I mean, I've been asked this question so many times, and
Well,
you know, a lot of people out there may flip-flop from one game to the other on certain players over the course of 2 or 3 seasons. You definitely don't. Webby doesn't, and I don't as well, even though my opinion can change sometimes, which I'm allowed to do. But you look at the younger players, Ahmad, you've got Yoro there, you've got Garnacho. A lot of people are sat on the fence, but Garnacho has all the attributes to be a top player, and I think we've got the right young manager to get the best out of him. I think I look then at the centre-back positions. I like Delap, I like Mazraoui. You know, Dorgu needs time. Aiden Heaven, he needs time to settle into this squad. But the likes of Ericsson, Lindelof, Casemiro, they've got to go. They've got to go. They're no use for this football club. 2 of them are already going because they're out of contract. Højlund up top. Is he going to be the actual future and the main man at Manchester United to carry this team in the dark times where we need goals? I'm not too sure. I've got to be honest with you. If we can get 2 strikers in the summertime, bring him in, either loan Højlund out or get rid of him, because I'm just not sure on him. I'm just sat on the fence with him right now. I'm not sure.
Well, the decision on Højlund will be made in the summer. There's no 2 ways about that, because we need to improve, and that's down to the men in suits to go and get us strikers, because we need strikers because we're not getting the goals. But I just look, listen, we try and stick with what we say. I've always stuck with Rashford and got slaughtered. Absolutely slaughtered by everyone.
He's getting called racist and stuff like that.
Yeah, racist, you name it, the lot. Okay, right? Whatever, you know, it don't bother me. It's water off a duck's back, right? Because I stick with it, and I called it, and that's what I do. I call it. Ruben Amorim's coming here, and he's called it, right? There's no messing about. He's upset people in there, because he knew he had to upset people, because his job is on the line. And his job starts this summer, okay? Starts this summer. And I go back to it. Ruben Amorim, 6 months he's been here. The men in suits should know who they want in and who they want out. And Ruben Amorim should have told them there is no mess in here, okay? He should have told them who they want out. And Casemiro, and Kieron's been right, his performances, they've been steady, they've been okay, right? But we all know what's going to happen. They want him out anyway, whether he was playing good or not, because of his high wages, okay? But he's not the future, and that's what you've got to look at, the future. And when you're looking at the future, you have to accept, as a football fan of Manchester United, there is going to be pain. I told you at the beginning of the year.
Do you know what the problem?
We're going to suffer.
Just name some young players there, and if they don't perform straight away, the garbage, get rid of them, they're not good enough, etc. Because I don't think this fan base, I'm not calling all the fan base here, but I think a section of the fan base does not have patience in giving things time to mature, time to turn round, for time to improve, not just individual players, but the club itself. And I think that's why a lot of these young players start falling by the wayside. And you're starting to see a few of them now, like your Kobbie Mainoo, your Garnacho now being totally inconsistent. Højlund up front, like I mentioned before, I'm still 50-50 on him. But because of the anger and the lack of patience, for me, in certain sections of this fan base, I think it's too much for these young kids, and it can destroy them. I'm not blaming all the fan base there. I'll reiterate that again. But a lot of these young players, they need the support and they need patience with him. The problem is at this football club, the recruitment has been absolutely piss poor, and we've had to rely on 19, 20 and 21-year-olds to go out there, perform week in, week out and go and win us games. It is totally unacceptable, and is not done at any European top club in world football. It's just not done at any other football club. You have to have the mature players in there, your experienced players who are good enough as well. And we've bought too many players who are over the hill, and it's just not been working out. But the patience needs to be there as well. Even though through difficult times, yeah, we can have a moan. We all can have a moan. We have a moan all the time. But at the end of the day, you've got to have a certain element of patience with it all.
Yeah, I mean, when we have a moan, right, I mean, people pick up on us with our aftermaths and go, oh, look at you, you're moaning about this and that. But talking about the club, okay, as we're doing now and pointing things out, giving our opinions, that it's totally different than an aftermatch. We're football fans. We're Man United fans like you are out there, okay? And when you see a game of football, your eye test tells you how your opinion is on the game. We're entitled to criticise. We don't heavily go in. I don't like doing it, but sometimes it's necessary because my eye test tells me that was absolute garbage. Well, what else am I supposed to say? My eye test tells me that that game was garbage. It was garbage, simple as. I try to tone it down, but sometimes I do get it up. But when we talk about the football club, we try to point things out for the future as well. And I look at things for the future. And this year has gone exactly 100% how I said it would. How I said it would, okay? And we've got to the final and we're still going to win it, believe you me.
Yes, I'm on board with that.
Nothing has been incorrect about how this season was going to go. But my God, did people criticise me saying, oh, you're on a downer, you're slagging the club off, this is, and all that, we need to do this. Listen, it was never going to happen. Even if we'd have kept Eric Ten Hag, it'd have been absolutely utter carnage, okay? Because he was fighting a losing battle. A battle you and I didn't know, but some people suppressed the news. Some people who were close to the football club, right? Some people who were in the reporters, okay? But they value their jobs. And they then use that information to have a narrative, right, which makes us all look silly because they know the truth, but they don't want to reveal it because they're in with the Glazers. That's how I see it, and that's why I get angry at times, and I'm pointing that out to you. I don't have to name names.
Fantastic. United forever, spot on, Sony. Some United fans want to look the other way and pretend it's not happening. And listen, let's face it, you know, as human beings, sometimes the truth does hurt. I mean, I did sit here, was it last week, the week before, saying I'm sick to death of Ruben Amorim.
Yeah.
Right?
Doing interviews.
Doing interviews, but saying how crap my football club is. But that's me having a moan as well as a Manchester United fan. I'm entitled to that as well. And it's not nice hearing, but at the end of the day, when you do take a step back, you have a deep breath, you know, you're trying to look at it from a balanced perspective. He's right. I mean, he's spot on in everything that he says. You know, will it come to fruition in what he's trying to implement with his system? Only time will tell, but surely to God, you need a little bit of patience for this football club to back him. If they do not back him, we will absolutely lose the plot on this channel that if this football club don't back Amorim in the summer. And I'm sure a lot of yous out there will. Whether you're for Amorim or you're against him right now, you doubt him or you're a believer. If this football club does not back him in the summer, after all the promises that have been made, especially with these cutbacks, do not forget that. With Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he said that the cutbacks, the money that would be actually saved by doing that would be reinvested into that men's team. So let's see it. It's not up to us to go on about financial points and start coming up. Where's the money coming from? Where's that coming from? We're football supporters. We're not interested in it. That's your job in there. Get it done. Get it sorted. Give the manager what he needs.
Our first priority, right, is always to back the manager. And we back Ruben Amorim going into this summer. And like Kieron says, he has to be provided. And as we've seen, right, over the years, they get provided and then the backing stops, okay? Well, the money was spent last summer under Eric Ten Hag, a manager they didn't want, who they were going to sack anyway this summer. So all that type of carnage has got to go. And we need a plan, a 5-year plan, right, and stick to it. And you've got to stick to Eric Ten Hag under his contract and not bottle it. You haven't got to bottle it.
Listen, like I said before, I do get it. You know, when you're looking at this season up to now under Ruben Amorim, why there is doubts out there, of course I do. I've got doubts about the actual football club giving him the actual tools, what's needed in bringing players in to fit his system. But a lot of you who are doubting him, you know, you're saying he can't do this, he can't do that, just look at this. But I never see solutions. It's like the mainstream pundits out there when they're slagging Manchester United week after week. All they're doing is trying to give out buzzwords, quotes. You got Carragher jumping around like a little girl, going on about memes. It'll be a meme, that, because all they want to do is get clips of social media to drive clicks and negativity against Manchester United. I never hear solutions.
Okay.
I never hear solutions. So if anyone out there is against Amorim, that is your opinion and you're entitled to that. Okay, but I want to see solutions.
Well,
please give me solutions on who would be a better fit here at Manchester United and why they would improve results more than what Ruben Amorim is under this current structure here at United and with this squad. I mean, do you want to just gloss over the facts and get a few wins here in there? You know, a few more draws, a few more points where we might finish 10th or 9th and gloss over the bigger problems at United? I mean, is that what you want? And then still face the same shite again next season?
Okay, here's a solution. I've said it for 20 years, okay? The Glazers are staying, and I've said it for 20 years, and we're talking about solutions. I said it from day one. I've not changed my mind. Glazers are going nowhere, and they'll go nowhere because there's no way of getting them out. I've said it for 20 years, and everyone's been screaming about the Glazers, and I do understand it, okay? I'm not knocking any fans or anything, right, for Glazer out and all that, right? But every time I hear it, and every time someone speaks to me, whether I'm outside Old Trafford, on a train, go to London, watching United or wherever, right? And the thing comes up, Glazer's got to go. And I say, well, how do you get him out? I'm telling you, you can't get him out. And I've been saying it for 20 years. And nobody has come up with a solution. None of these fans groups, nobody. Okay? So when Kieron's going on about ranting and raving, right, about get Amorim out, we'll come up with a solution. Is it the best thing to remove Amorim? Okay, and why? Simple, innit?
Listen,
give us a solution. We don't see a solution. What we see, right, we want something, right, stick with it, don't rinse and repeat, and try and work the best to his ability, but he has to be provided.
When you're talking about the Glazers there, just a quick point. You always said that the Glazers, the only way to get the Glazers out is the Glazers themselves, and that will be their own business plan and own business model that will fail, and it was failing. And then Sir Jim Ratcliffe come along, the White Knight, and saved the Glazers. And too many people out there got on board with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and giving it the big one that he's going to be our saviour at this football club. Give it too much time to see, because time is precious at this club. Too much time to see if he was going to buy the Glazers out fully or what he was going to do at the club. It should have been there and done and dusted for me, where, you know, things were...
I said a year ago, the only way the Glazers will go, right, well, over a year ago, the only way it'll go, right, is because of their own business, okay? The business model was failing, okay? That's the only way, and it would have happened. But unfortunately, they got saved.
Yeah, like a few people getting involved on Amorim, like saying if he don't perform next season, he will get the sack. And, you know,
more than likely.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and disagree with that, because like we've mentioned loads of times, mentioned it today. It's like we keep on having to repeat it sometimes, that we need to see improvement. Is the Manchester United manager, the players in there, the staff in there, the privileged people to be working at our football club. But it's the club, it's the football club for me that I love. It's the club that is first, not no manager, not no player.
Look.
So if I do genuinely believe that Ruben Amorim is not the right man for the job, right, I will call it out and say he's not the right man for the job. I've got no other reason not to call it out.
No, that's true.
Because it's my club first. It's my club that I love, not a manager, not an individual player.
If Ruben Amorim is given what he wants and we don't have a good season, then what can you say? And don't forget what I said about a good season. 10th and above. That, for me, is a good season based on this year, okay? So if he can't produce a good season and he's given things, then you, throughout the season, we'll be looking at it and saying, well, what's going wrong here? Why isn't this working? You know, he's got the players what he wants. Then you have to look at the coach. But there's no way anyone should look at this coach now and sort of say, oh, he's not, the system's wrong, this wrong, the players, this, that. We know there's carnage in there. We know the players don't care, okay? It's when he gets backed, right, and he doesn't perform, just like any player, okay? So we will be watching him. And at the end of the season, we'll sort of say, well, has he done good? Well, at the end of the day, you know how ruthless Ratcliffe is. He won't be hanging about. That's the reality of who Ratcliffe is and what he wants.
Indeed. Seen a bit of a story as well, just going off topic a little bit, about Liam Delap. You know, there's interest as well from Chelsea, but he's borderline in like moving towards a move to Manchester United, but only if, you know, we get like Champions League football. And also you've got to remember, Man United do qualify for the Champions League. These players' wages go back up 25% because it's been knocked off because of no Champions League football. So they've also got to look at that as well, haven't they? With players' wages. I mean, that's in
the old contracts. Yeah. Right? We don't know about the new contracts, but they will want to get rid of people like that. But Liam Delap coming in, the contract negotiations and what they've done, I think it'll be completely different. But looking at Liam Delap, I really like Liam Delap, right? I want him to come to Old Trafford. But the conversations I've had, I don't care about the reports. I don't care about the reports. I think he's going to Chelsea, me. I think that's where he's going. I've seen a few things talking about, he's waiting. It could be Chelsea. It could be United. Depends on Champions League football. Listen, I don't want someone hanging about, waiting to see what Man United do, if they get in the Champions League or not. And he's going to make a decision on that. The way it's been reported, I'm saying the way it's being reported, right, is as though he's waiting and negotiations are there, but it's depending on Champions League football. That's why I don't believe he's coming also, okay? But I don't want no player, right, to decide after the Europa League final that if we win it, then he'll come to Old Trafford.
Well, that's been the problem in the past there with recruitment. You're bringing people here who are just waiting to see, who've been just coming to the club, for the money, and that's it. We want people, regardless of where we are right now. We're not in a great situation, let's be honest with ourselves, but you want players who are going to come to this club because they want to play for Manchester United, regardless of the actual wages, the salary, etc., or what competition we might be playing in next season.
I don't think a young lad like that would make that decision anyway. I think a young lad like that would already turn around and say, right, my career, I'm here, I need to sort my career out for the next 6-7 years, right? And I do believe he sorted it out with Chelsea as if to say, right, that's the club for me. At this moment in time, I'm happy. My career's settled. I'll be in London. Probably that's where he wants to go. I don't know that, right? But he's got a career. He should really be looking at his career and how it moves forward. And I think that's what he's doing. And if he was looking at Manchester United, he might be looking at United and saying, well, I don't know where United are going. You don't know where they're going, and I don't, because the next 18 months, right, is a tipping point for Man United, whether they do push on or they do sink further. But Liam Delap, for me, I think his future's already decided. I've had a conversation. I won't say who with. It's over a week ago. But the news what's coming out now isn't saying, as I read it, I might be wrong, that he's coming to Manchester United. He's made a decision. United have agreed terms and all that. There's none of that there. It all seems to be Champions League football. Well, for me, I don't want any player, if that is the case, and I don't believe it's the case, but I do believe the conversations and he has had with Chelsea, with his agent and everything, that's where he's going. I might be wrong, but only the next few weeks, we'll soon find out. But that's my opinion.
A lot of people getting involved with the chat. Difference of opinions in there. And rightly so, because we've all got difference of opinions. But
entitled to them, it's great.
Yeah, just try and keep it civil between each other. You know, we're all United fans, you know. It's all about having a good conversation. I've got to be honest with you, a lot of the time I do these videos, it's actually therapy for me. It actually feels like therapy, especially this season, in the way it's been going on. But as the wording goes, the phrase goes, it's good to talk.
Well, sometimes we need...
It's good to talk.
Sometimes we need to sit down and talk to people.
Just to unload.
Just to get it out, do you know what I mean? Just to like have a little bit of a rant or point a few things out, and you know, and I don't mind people having a go at me. I mean, I get called all things. I mean, he's laughing, right? I get called all things, you know what I mean? But it's water off a duck's back to me. It doesn't matter. if I was outside in the pub like I was years ago, the things what was called me is unbelievable. But it's part and parcel of being a football fan. You have to take it, you give it.
Of course, I love it. I wouldn't change anything about doing this. And I appreciate every single one of you getting involved with your own opinions, etc. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it so far up to now doing this channel. But like I say, a lot of people getting involved. Certain players as well coming in the summer. Some people don't think Delap is good enough. And, you know, I'm not saying he is or he isn't right now. Well, I am actually, because I'm actually saying that he is a good player. I've seen a lot in him in his attributes.
Better than what we've got.
He's miles better.
You know,
listen to me. He's miles better than what we've got. His attributes, his close control, his running with the ball, his finishing, his strength, his hold-up play is miles better than what we've got right now. And I go back to a previous comment I mentioned before about patience. I mean, are fans even going to give the new signings in the summer patience?
No, but that's football fans. You know what it's like. You know but that's that's the way it is.
Because they don't like him.
But if someone can tell me what Xerxes and Hoyland combined in any way is better than Liam Delap, then please get it in the comments. Yeah. Okay? Because I'm doing the eye test now on what I've seen on Liam Delap. And I really, really think he would suit Manchester United. And Manchester United would benefit hugely from him, right? But if anyone can tell me what Hoyland or Xerxes does a lot better than Liam Delap, then please get it in the comments, because my eye test tells me them two have got nothing on Liam Delap. That's how I see it.
I think too many people.
But when I'm comparing, I'll give you the comparison, okay? Everything about Liam Delap is a lot better than Hoyland and Xerxes. Everything. So if you can tell me the opposite way round, I'll be grateful, because I must be going blind in one eye.
Lee Jones, thanks for your super chat, mate. He says, night nurse Tony, question mark.
No night nurse. There can't be night nurse for me, because I've accepted what's going on. I think what's kept me going with a smile and that is I've always stuck with the Europa League. Okay, and my confidence, I thought it was, I know people criticised it early September, October when it came out that we're going to win the league, the Europa League, that we're going to get to the final. It was the confidence of the squad under Eric Ten Hag. That's my confidence. And even under Ruben Amorim, even with the Carnies, I always thought we was capable of pulling the odd game out here and there. And I thought the Europa League would fine. But there's no night nurse. There's no late nights. There's no disturbing. I got an headache the other day watching the West Ham game. And by rights, everyone should have had an headache, because I look at that, and that was the worst one. But I don't worry about my sleep anymore. I don't, because I accept what I'm seeing. I know what we've got.
Do you know, if you're just mentioning that about Ten Hag and Ruben Amorim, this squad of players, obviously we recruited new players last summer as well, but over the last, 2 to 3 seasons, you know, the actual cup finals that we've got to, it doesn't actually really seem a problem. I mean, it's a big, massive problem for the likes of Arsenal to get to cup finals. Yeah. But with Manchester United, despite how poor we are in the Premier League, it's never a problem. And we've got to cup finals now under 2 different managers. I mean, that tells you itself that there's an actual huge problem with the mentality and the lack of quality in this squad to achieve things in the Premier League. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. It's sat there for all to see that in the cup competitions, these one-off games, all of a sudden, mentality, they can get up for it. They can put in a performance, at least fight and show some of that. But in the Premier League, I mean,
no, but
not there.
The mentality and the quality is there.
Just the managers, surely. There has to be more than that.
Yeah, well, the quality is there, the mentality is there for one-off games, but they're not prepared to put it in. That's because of the attitude. They think they're bigger and better than any manager, and they swan around. We've seen them swan around, but when the big games come up, or an important one-off game, 8 out of 10 times, they're able to pull it off where they can fight for a draw. We've seen it against Liverpool. We've seen it against Arsenal. This year in the Cup. We've seen it against City. So it's there, and we've seen it in the Europa League, especially lately.
Yeah, Fred Grantham has gifted 5 memberships. Absolute legend. The 5 people have been gifted their memberships. Big thank you to Fred, the legend. I just wanted to get onto something there. Bruno Varela. If Amorim had over 600 million, Eric Ten Hag had, we would have been a better team and squad?
I don't know. You don't know because we don't know whose players are. I understand what you're saying, okay? I understand what you're saying, but we don't know who his players are, right? And if this board will actually go and get the ones he wants. I do believe that the board and Ruben will sit down, right? And if there is hundreds of millions of pounds, the question, I think what people will ask, and quite rightly ask, are these Ruben's players? Maybe they won't be all of them. Maybe some of them will be, but that's the questions Ruben Amorim's got to answer at the start, before the start of the season. Are these the players Ruben Amorim wanted? But I do get it, £600 million.
No, I do get it. And you're looking at Erik ten Hag, some of his signings, I might miss one or two here, but you've got Anana, you've got Managerial, you've got Martinez, you've got Anthony, all played under Erik ten Hag in the past at Ajax, brought him here to Manchester United. They've not performed. I think Martinez as well, this season when we did see him, I don't think he was up to them levels that I expected from him, but let's hope he recovers from that long-term injury and he comes back a better player. But for me, I would suggest to anyone in that football club not to go back to Sporting Lisbon to sign any of the players that Ruben Amorim was actually managing over there, and to go out there and get some fresh players that he doesn't actually know out there. Obviously, he'll have an idea of the players, don't get me wrong, but none of them that he actually managed at Sporting Lisbon. I don't think that's the way to go.
The way to go is dogs of war, Premiership experience. Get in there, fight for this club so we can build on it, and then get the sprinkling of stardust. Dogs of war is what you want. People who are willing to fight for 90 minutes and work hard and work for each other and respect the badge. That is the first thing what you want. That's what you want to see. Nothing else. Dogs of war. And do you know what? Liam Delap is a man who suits that. Dogs of war.
Yeah, going to wrap it up there, but it's been a pleasure speaking to everyone today, actually, having a look at what's been getting said with your own opinions on loads of different things. But like I mentioned earlier on, anyone with a different opinion,
that's fine.
Just be civil with each other, do you know what I mean? And it's just all about opinions. I mean, that's why we all love our football club and why we always come on here, get involved in the community, because we like to see different opinions.
Well, we very rarely swear, do we, Keir?
I think we swore a couple of times today.
Very rarely.
Can I just apologise for any kids out there watching, especially if you're watching with any of your family members, because it's one thing that I do take pride in, that we don't actually come out swearing every other word on this channel, because we see a lot of kids here on a match day who have that excitement, that smile on the face, that buzz of Manchester United, even though some of us older ones have kind of lost that this season a little bit. Yeah, we do understand that there's a lot of people out there who watch with kids and that. So, yeah, we do try and rein that in sometimes. That's why we might get tongue-tied, because really it's going on in our head, but we don't want to spill it out. But
or I might get a kick under the table.
You don't. So you're moving your legs all the time. I tell you what, yeah, when you sat there, his legs are wide. Oh, he's there that's why you end up probably moving off screen all the time. But anyway, I'd just like to thank you all for joining us today, getting involved in the chat.
Brilliant.
I will say right now, in Ruben Amorim we trust. If you've got a different opinion, by all means, get it in the chat. Smash a like on today's video as well to support the channel, and we will be back tomorrow with another live. So bang that notification on, and we'll see you again soon, everyone. Much love, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.